Is he here? Is he here? Is who here? Well, if you've been watching my video series, Tour of Savannah's Historic Squares, you would know that we are looking for the one, the only, Forrest Gump and his bench. Today, however, we are not there. We won't see him or his bench. We are today in Telfair Square. Telfair Square's got a very interesting history. It was laid out in 1733. Telfair Square was not named Telfair Square back then. It was named St. James Square. And we'll get back to the history of the change in the name. But what is interesting to me about the Telfair Square is that back in the day when this was built, there were only 4 planned squares for Savannah. Today we have 22. At one time there were 24. But this square, the initial 4 squares were built. And now they're kind of the elite squares, if you want to call them that. But back in the day, this particular one was the cat's meow. It was the Park Avenue of Savannah. It's where every socialite wanted to be invited to a party. It was where everybody wanted to have their beautiful home. Oddly enough, over the years, and I think a lot of probably bourbon or something played into the decision making because it was really bad, much of the historic elements of this square were lost, and unfortunately we have a lot of commerce here and we have some government buildings, and I don't know what they were thinking when they built them, but they're here and we have to live with them. On the other note, we do have a couple of shining stars here, and that is worth looking at. So let's talk about what else we have. Behind me, as you can see, there's this one stretch of the square where we have the Jepson Museum, which houses more modern art. It has a small children's museum within the museum. It's a really fun place to go. You can get glimpses of things like Manet, Monet, Degas, and who else have I seen there? Picasso. They bring in different artists from different places, which is really great that people will put them on loan. We have permanent collections as well. We also have one of the oldest, or actually it is the oldest church. It is Trinity Methodist Church, and that's on this square. And right behind me is a home built by Alexander Telfair in 1818. So now let's dig into this history a little bit. Okay, so getting back to that name change. Back in 1733, it was called St. James Square, and today it's called Telfair Square. Very unusual for Savannah's squares to be renamed, and it had to take a lot to be able to rename it, because I'm sure the citizens would have been a little bit up in arms about it. And also, it just wasn't in the norm for Savannah to change the square's name. So why would this have happened? Well, there was a gentleman by the name of Alexander Telfair who came here and built the mansion right behind me. But he did not change the name. He had no part in it. However, another Telfair might have had something to do with it, and that was Edward Telfair. He is a 3-term serving governor of Georgia who came to Savannah with his family, and they did some amazing things for Savannah. They are great supporters and patrons of the arts, and what had happened was they had come here and they started curating and creating what we have here now, which is the Telfair Museum and Telfair Academy. So it's really cool. In 1883, in honor of this family doing so much for Savannah, this lovely square was named Telfair Square, and it's remained that way ever since. Now, if you are a lover of fine paintings, you definitely want to go to the Telfair Square, the Telfair Museum. It has 18th and 19th century works of art and other things as well. However, if you're not so excited about that, but you love beautiful ancient homes, you definitely want to go to the Telfair. Why? Because it is an exquisite mansion, it is restored, and it is just chock full of details and eye candy for the lovers of antiquity and history. So I highly recommend at least getting yourself through the doors and taking a look at that. And we're thanking the Telfair family for giving us that museum, for being instrumental in the Jepson Center, and for all the work that they and their foundation have done over the years for Savannah, because people like you and I can enjoy this work that they've brought here. This is all I have on the Telfair Square. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like it and share it. And you might want to subscribe to my channel so you can get some notifications when I'm doing my next video, and they're not always on Savannah squares, just goings on around Savannah. Anyway, thank you for watching.